let's get started on constructing our box. The first thing you're going to need is a scoreboard. You're going to need a scoring tool and a bone folder. You're going to need a pencil and a ruler. You're going to need some heavier duty scissors for cutting chipboard with. These are my Tim Holtz ones, the large ones. You're going to need a smaller pair of scissors for trimming out your corners. You're going to need some double-sided tape. This is 1/2 inch. I would prefer the 3/8 of an inch, but I don't have any right now, so I'm using the 1/2 inch. And you're going to need some wet adhesive. This is my Fabri-Tac. And you're going to need some black masking tape. This is you can do binding strips instead of the black masking tape, but I just prefer this. It's easier and I find the box is much more flexible using that. You're going to need 2 pieces of medium weight chipboard that measure 3 by 6. You're going to need 2 pieces of medium weight chipboard that measure 1 1/4 by 6. You're going to need 1 piece of medium weight that measures 6 by 6. And you're going to need 2 pieces of lightweight chipboard that measure 6 by 6. So you're also going to need 2 pieces of 65-pound weight cardstock, black cardstock that measures 7 by 7. This is just the Recollections black cardstock. You're going to need a piece of 65-pound that measures 8 by 6.5, and you're going to need 2 of these. And you're going to need 2 pieces of 80-pound cardstock that measure 2 1/4 by 6. All right, so let's get started here. So we're going to create this piece here first. So we're going to start by creating that. So you're going to need one of your pieces that measures 8 by 6.5. And you're going to need one of your pieces that your medium weight chipboard that measures 3 by 6. And you're going to need one of your pieces that measures 1 1/4 by 6. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is grab your ruler and your 3 by 6 piece of chipboard, and you're going to lay it down, and you will measure in 1 inch from both sides. So you're going to measure into the 1 here and into the 5 on this side. And then you're going to take your ruler and line it up with the top corner up here and line it up with your mark down here and make a line. And then you're going to do the same thing here. Line it up with your mark and the top corner here and make a line. And now we're simply going to take our scissors and cut from that edge, from the top corner down to our 1 inch line. Take your time doing this. And then on this side, we're going to cut from the bottom up, staying right alongside our line there, right up to the corner. So that is our shape created. So now you're going to get your piece of black cardstock that measures 8 by 6.5, and you're going to put it upside down like this on your piece of paper. So we can go ahead and glue it on. So I've got my Fabri-Tac here to glue it on with. And we will just place it up here and leaving about an inch to fold over there, and just kind of make sure it's centered. And then we're going to take our piece that is 1 1/4 by 6, and we will place it right here, leaving about a 1/16 of an inch of a gap between the two, and make sure that they are really nice and lined up. So just like that. All right, now we're gonna let that dry for a second, and we're gonna bring in one of our pieces of lightweight chipboard that measures 6 by 6 and one of our pieces of the black cardstock that measures 7 by 7. And we're going to lay it in like this. So we just need to wrap this piece. So we're just going to add our adhesive all over the back of it. And place it right down in the center there. Okay, perfect. And now we will set this one aside to dry, and we'll bring this piece back in, and we're going to start cutting where we need to cut. So the first thing we want to do is cut about 1 inch away from this edge right there, like so. And then the same thing on this other side here, about 1 inch away from that edge, all the way down, like that. All right, and now we're going to cut in to this line here. So we're going to cut in, and then we're going to do the same down here, and we're going to cut right along so that we end up right at the corner of our chipboard there. And then you can cut in at an angle down here, because this is the piece that's going to hinge to the main part of our box. And now we can take out this little corner here so that we can fold that over, and then we can angle in this tab a little bit more, just like so. And then we can do the same thing on the other side. So just into the corner of the chipboard there, and the same thing down here. All right, and then we can come up at an angle there for that. And then give this one a little trim here. And we can cut in there. And a little bit there. All right, and then when we come up here, we're going to cut straight down from this corner to this corner and just meet them as best as we can. So cut right down, and then we will just take the triangle out there like that, and then also on this edge here. All right, and then we're going to repeat that step on the other side. Right down to the corner of our chipboard, and then just give it a little trim from the side. All right, so that's how your piece should look. So you're going to need to do that on both of your sides of your box. So we are going to start folding these in. Giving them a good burnish, and when you fold it in, the sides here, if you see that it goes into the gap between our chipboard pieces, just go ahead and fold it back and trim it back a little bit more, just so that it no longer does that there. All right, before I close it up, I want to use my black masking tape and cover this gap here so that the tape is underneath my flaps. I'm just going to cut it straight, like so. So just go ahead and attach it right there. And all the way across. Press it down. And once you've pressed it down, you can go ahead and trim it off. Alright, it's looking really good. Now let's go ahead and add our tape to all of our flaps. Alright, so we've got all our tape attached. And now we can start folding in. So I'm going to start folding in on my sides here. Just like so. And make sure that if there's any tape standing over that you do tuck it in. Do that and then do this side here. Just like that. And then we will bring in our top edge here. So just go ahead and fold that in as well. All right, and that's looking really good. And now we'll get our sides done. All right, tuck in the tape and the seam over here. And since we've already pre-folded everything, it's all just gonna go in where it's supposed to go in. All right, and now we can go ahead and just gently bring that edge up, and then we've created the one of the top or bottom parts of our box. And so we need 2 of these. So you can go ahead and repeat the steps that we just did and make your second one. And now we'll bring this piece back in that we glued down previously, and then we will just go ahead and cut out the corners. Well, let's go ahead and burnish it first. All right, so fold it all in, all the way around, and give it a good burnish. And this is why it's a good idea to have the lighter weight cardstock, because it's nice and easy and it's folding around our chipboard really nicely. All right, so now we've created 4 squares in the 4 corners. So we can just go ahead and trim those out and then just do a little angle cut in there, just like so. So I'm just using, again, the 1/2" tape here, and I'm trying to get it as close to the edges as I can, because I don't want it coming up over the top. But again, I would use a 3/8 or even 2 strips of 1/4" tape here if I had them. All right. Now we can start folding them all in. So remove the backing. Again, double check nothing's sticking over there, and just fold it in. All right, so that's done. So you will need 2 of those. So I've already done the second one, so just go ahead and repeat the same steps for that one. So now we have our 4 pieces like this all done. Now we just have to make our side hinges. So for the side hinges, you're going to need your scoreboard and a scoring tool. So remember, our side pieces measure 2 1/4 by 6, and it is the 80-pound cardstock. We're going to go ahead and score it 1/2 inch on both sides. So score it 1/2 inch on both sides, and then after we score that 1/2 inch mark, We're going to go every 1/8 of an inch until we meet our second 1/2 an inch mark on the other side. So just keep going every 1/8 of an inch. Okay, perfect. So that's done. So we can fold in our 2 1/2 inch flaps, just like so. Fold them in. All right, and now to give those a round shape, I just take my ruler and I kind of put it in there and I drag it out underneath it. And that rounds where we've done our score lines. So it just gives it a nice round look. So now what you need to do is you have to attach your tape onto your flaps. But on one side, you need to put the tape on the inside hinge, on the inside 1/2 inch flap there. And on this side, you need to put it on the outside. So one on the inside, one on the outside. Just like so. So now we need our piece of medium weight chipboard that measures 6 by 6. So we need to attach, just to give you a visual of what's going to happen, we need to hinge this side to here, and then this end is going to go down here, and then one of our pieces, one of our hinges is going to go on this side, our side hinges. The other one's going to go on this side, and then this one, these two will get attached on both sides here, just like that. So let's go ahead and add some tape to these 2 hinges here. All right, now we can go ahead and burnish on that tape there. So we can go ahead and remove the backing. And then make sure there's no tape standing over. And then you're going to get your 6 by 6 piece. That is the medium weight chipboard. And again, you're going to leave about a 1/16 of an inch. And then press it on. And then we will do the same for this one. Make sure all our tape's tucked in nicely. So we will go ahead and lift this up and line it up, leaving about a 1/16 of an inch. For our gap. Alright, so we can press that down. And now we will attach our side hinges. So the one hinge that has tape on the inside, we will remove that. And we will put it on underneath here. Like so. Making sure it's nice and even. Alright, and then we will go ahead and do our other side here. You could trim up these angles here so that they're angled, but I didn't really feel like that was necessary on these. Make sure it's lined up nicely, like so. And then we can trim off the top. This hinge, we can clean that up a little bit. Like so. All right, and now we are going to attach one of our sides here. So just meet them to each other like this. We're not going to leave a space between these two. So meet them to each other. Make sure they're even top and bottom, and then just lay that down on top of it. And we're going to repeat that same step over here. Meet them to each other. Make sure they're lined up top and bottom. And then just lay that over. All right, and that is the basic construction of our box. Really cute. Really, really cute. All right, so that these two stay together. Once you have stuff inside, they will probably stay together on their own and they will stay lifted up. But I want to add a magnet in here so that they stay nice and closed. So I've got some large basic gray magnets, and I'm just going to use one set. So I kind of want to have it about in the middle so that it attaches nicely to both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the backing from the magnet. And yeah, put it about right there. And then I'm going to let the other one catch and remove the magnet, or remove the backing, sorry. And then before I really press down, I'm going to line these up so that they're meeting side to side here, and then I'll go underneath and I'll press that down. And then that keeps our box nicely closed in there. So that looks really nice. Nice and tidy. So let's open it up, and we're gonna add some of our black masking tape in these. You're gonna have to add it all the way around. Okay guys, let's get our flaps added in here. So our flaps measure 5 7/8 wide by 11 inches long. So 5 7/8 wide by 11. On the 11-inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, and then 6 5/8. So 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, and 6 5/8 on the 11-inch side. And you're going to need 4 of those. So our first one, we're going to add up here, and I've added my score tape on the 1-inch section that I scored, and then I just mitered the corners. So I'm just going to remove a partial bit of my score tape, and I'm going to bend down so that my quarter inch flap is score is exposed. And I'm gonna add it right along here, centering it left to right. And I'm gonna make sure not to go up past this line here. Making sure that we have about the same amount of space on either side. And then we'll bend back that 4-inch score line. And this score line here is going to fold underneath. And then, yes, that's perfect. So that's right where I want that one. So let's add another one. And I'm just going to go ahead and remove all the tape. I just find it easier that way. And again, I'm going to bend back so that my 1/4 inch score mark is exposed. And again, I'm just going to center it right in there, making sure not to go up past this line. There. All right, and that should be good. Again, we're going to bend this one underneath and then just make sure that one comes up nicely on top. So perfect. So that's our 2 first sections added. So our next ones are actually going to go on top of this top flap here. They're going to go on top of here. So one is going to go from this side and then one is going to come from this side. So I'm just going to go ahead and add on my first one. And so these are now the exact same size. So I'm just going to turn my book. Again, I'm going to bend back so I can see that 4-inch line. And they're going to line up exactly to each other. Just be careful, take your time. You really only get one shot at this when you're using score tape. And I'm just gonna go over here and make sure it's on right over here and line it up. Okay, so that looks pretty darn good. So lift it up, make sure there's nothing across the back, and there is not. And again, so I'm gonna pinch back my 4-inch or my 1/4 inch score line, and I'm gonna bend this in. So that's gonna go like this. So let's open that one up now and we'll add this side here. So again, just removing that score tape, and I'm gonna turn it so I can see it. And we will just line it up. And add it on there. And we will attach it there. And then again, just bend back that 1/4 inch score there. And now this is again going to close to the inside. And then bring this one up and it will close to the inside. So that's how it's going to look at this point. And then we'll still have a little bit of wiggle room to do something at the top there. All right, now let's add on all our little extras. Okay guys, let's go ahead and do our little closure that's going to close everything in and keep it tight. So the first thing we need to do is we're creating like a belly band that's separate to close everything in. So the first thing we need to do is do our belly band pieces, and I'm putting another belly band on top of that piece so that we can have a little pocket, and that'll make more sense when it's all put together. So the first piece you're going to need measures 7.5 by 2 3/4, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch and 1 5/8. So it's going to give you that gusset or that space so that it can sandwich everything in there. And then the next piece you're going to need measures 2 3/4 by 6 7/8, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch and 6 3/8, or you could score at 1/2 inch and flip it and score it at 1/2 inch on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one side of the backing off my tape, and I'm going to line it up to this score line, not over the score line, but right up against it here. And I'm going to add this to the one side here. Just line it up nice and straight, and then we can press that down. Good, and then we're going to do the other side here. So just close, or just take that backing off, and then this side you will just need to press down. So that's going to be one of our pocket belly bands right there. So next we're going to do the shorter one. This one is the full 5 7/8 length, and this one is 5 1/2 once it's closed up like this. So this piece measures 7 1/8 by 2 3/4, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch and 1 1/8 on the 7 1/8 inch side. And then we have the piece that's going to go on top of it to make it a pocket. This piece measures 6 3/8 by 2 3/4, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch and then at 5 7/8. Or you can just score at 1/2, flip it, and score it at 1/2. And we're going to go through the same process and attach it the same way that we did the other piece. So just make sure it's straight all the way down, and then press it on, and then we can take the backing off and just press it down, and it's going to go where it's supposed to go right away. Alright, so the longer side, this is the 5 7/8, once it's put together, this one is going to come in from this side. So we can go ahead and remove the backing of the tape. And we're just going to try to center it up and down, not going past this line. So it doesn't have to be perfect, just as long as it's somewhat centered. So press that on, and then we can open that. And then we'll take the other one and take the backing off of that one. This is our shorter one. And so we're just going to try to line it up to this as best as we can, right along that score line, or that line along the side here, like so, making sure not to go over it. Alright, and that looks pretty straight to me. And then when they come up, we're going to bring our pieces in here. They come up, they will close in our page sections here. So I've got a large basic gray magnet. I picked mine up at Country Craft Creations. So I'm just going to take the backings off of both sides of the magnets, and I'm just going to place it under one of these down here, the larger one. And then I'm going to close it and make sure it's nice and square before I press down. And then we can press it on. And there we go, there's our belly band section that's going to keep it all nice and closed. Okay guys, let's get some of our interactive pieces in place here. So right here is where we're going to start. We're going to open up our belly band and lay it to the side, and we're going to start on this first front page here, let's call it. So we're going to do a little waterfall here. So the pieces for the waterfall measure 5.5 by 4 3/4, and on the 4 3/4 side you're going to score it 1/2 inch, and we need 3 of those for this first page here. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove a little bit of our backing of our adhesive here, and I'm not going to line it up to the top or to either side. I'm going to try to center it top wise. I'm going to try to center it up towards the top. So just about, I would say, 1/4 of an inch from the top and from both sides. We're going to put it down. Alright, so that's the first one. So let's do the second one, and before we even take the adhesive or the backing off at all, let's put it on where it would go, and we'll close our top here. Yeah, that's gonna look good. So we're gonna go ahead and just peel it off, and we're just gonna line it up with the bottom of the previous flap. Just take your time. There's no need to rush this. Alright, and let's just close this. Yep, they're still nicely lining up. Alright, and then we'll do the final one here. So again, just go ahead and remove the backing. And then just line it up right along that other one there. And before we, yeah, that looks good. Alright, now let's add the closure flap down here. So the closure flap measures 1.5 wide by 4 3/4, and you're going to score it at 1/2 inch on the 4 3/4 side. And we'll just go ahead and take that backing off again. And we'll close up our waterfall, and we'll kind of just tuck this underneath here. The waterfall piece, I also want to leave about 1/4 of an inch or so from the bottom up. About like that. Perfect. And then I'm going to add a magnetic closure to that. And I can do that after. So now when we flip over, we're going to be on this flap here. So this is our front flap we're flipping open, and we're going to be here on this flap. So here we have a flap that opens, and I've already added a magnetic closure here. And we're going to add a pocket on the top of this flap. So it's going to go right here like this. So the pocket measures 5 3/8 by 4, and you're going to score it at 1/2 inch on both sides, on the 5 3/8 side. So we're just going to go ahead and remove the backing from one side of our pocket and the bottom. I guess let's leave the bottom for now, but make sure it's the right side up. And we'll just line it up with the edge on this side here, on our inside edge. Alright, and then once you have it lined up, go ahead and press this side down here. And then we can open it up and remove the bottom and the sides, and then just press down like that. Perfect. Alright, and then inside here, I am just going to mat with white cardstock for photos. Alright, so now we're on this center flap. So we've done the front, and we've done this little side piece. Now we're on this center flap here. So this one is going to have a waterfall as well, but this time it's going to go lengthwise in this direction. So this piece measures 5 7/8, so it's the exact same height as our flap here, by 4 3/4, and on the 4 3/4 side you're going to score it 1/2 inch. And again, we're going to need 3 of these. So 5 7/8 by 4 3/4, and then 1/2 inch score on the 4 3/4 side. So we will go ahead and remove the backing. And I'm just gonna turn it to myself so that I can get a better angle here. And I'm gonna line it up all the way to the bottom and all the way to the corner. This one is gonna go all the way on. And then I can remove the rest of my backing and just make sure that it stays straight there. And then we can just press that down. All right, so let's do our next one. We are going to need 3 of the flaps on this side. So we'll just go ahead and line that up with the bottom of the previous flap. Like so. And again, just take your time. All right, and then we'll do the final one here. So we will just line it up top to bottom, and then with the bottom of our flap over here. All right, so it's looking really good. I'm just gonna get my score tool and just straighten this one out a little bit, like so. All right, and now we can add our closure flap. So this one again measures 1.5 wide by 4 3/4 long, and we scored it at 1/2 inch on the 4 3/4 side. And this one I am going to line up with the edge of my flap here. I'm not going to give it any space. I'm going to line it right up with the edge. Kind of make sure it's centered as best as you can, and then just place it on there. And again, I'm going to add a magnetic closure to that. So now we're going to flip over, and now we're on the inside of this flap here, and I've already added a pocket here, and it's the exact same as the pocket that we did here. So it's the same measurements and everything, and I just added the same pocket over here, and again I added a magnetic closure, and I'm just going to use white mats on the inside of that. So now we're at this little center piece here, and I'm just going to add one flap in here that's going to open towards the top. So this one measures 5.5 by 6, and then you're going to score it on the 6-inch side at 1/2 inch, just to get that. It'll be 5.5 by 5.5 once it's down. All right, so I removed my backing, and I'm just going to line it up with the top and make sure that it's centered left to right. And I'm just gonna press down. Just like that. All right, so now we can close these up, and we're gonna flip all the way up to inside here. So we're gonna add a pocket to this flap, and this pocket measures 6 7/8 by 2.5, and on the 6 7/8 side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch on both sides. So you're gonna score at 1/2, flip it in your scoreboard, and score at 1/2 again. And it's just gonna go down here towards the bottom of this top flap here. So just line it up side to side and all the way to the bottom, and then we can press this side down, and then we can open it and remove the backings from our tape, and then just press that on. Perfect. All right, and I have added a magnet in here already on the inside there, and we're gonna add the white mats there. All right, so now let's move down here. So we've done our pocket here. So on this flap here, we did another waterfall, and it's the exact same measurements as the waterfall on our very front panel here. So we're going to add that again there. So you're going to follow the same directions and measurements for that and add another waterfall right there. And then we get to the back here, and I've added another pocket right here, and it's the exact same pocket as this one here. So you can go ahead and do that again down here. And again, it opens up, and I've already added the magnet in here. And we're just gonna add white mats in there. So now we're at the very back of our little book, and we're gonna add a pocket down in here. So this pocket measures 6 7/8 by 2.5, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch on both sides on the 6 7/8 inch side. And we're just gonna add it right down in here. So again, I'm just gonna remove the backing from one side and line it up the way I want it, making sure not to go past my score lines here or into these score lines. All right, so just kind of center it as best as I can, and then press down, and then we'll open it up and remove the backings from our tape, and then just press it down in there. Okay guys, so that's the basic album construction complete. But before I go, I do want to show you how to do the closure on the book. So we are going to close it up, and then I'm going to show you how to do the closure on these pieces here. So the first thing we need to do is mat these two pieces. So I'm showing you on some white cardstock just for the ease of use and how to see it better on there. So this piece measures 5 3/4 by 2 3/4. And what you're going to do is you're going to mark in at 1 inch on both sides. So on one side you're going to mark in at 1 inch, and if you're marking in from this side, you're going to mark in at 4 3/4. Then you're going to take your scissors and just cut from this side up to the corner, and then from this side you can start at the corner and cut down to your mark to get that diagonal cut like this, and that's going to mat right onto here perfectly. Okay, so I've already done that with my pattern paper. So I've got 2 sheets of my pattern paper here that I've cut that way. So I'm going to do a ribbon and twine closure. So we are going to find out where we want our hole on here for our little mechanism. So we'll just mark it kind of centrally, kind of bottom centrally right here. I'm just guesstimating, I'm not measuring or anything. So we're just going to make our hole there. Then for our little pieces, I've used a little die, and I've cut a little circle die, and I've cut 2 out of white cardstock and 2 out of chipboard. So I'm just going to glue them together. So I'm just going to use my art glitter glue here, and I'm just going to add my glue to the back of the white, and then glue it right onto the chipboard, just like so. And then I'm going to repeat the process for the other one, so that I end up with 2 circles. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and make a hole in the center of my white circles, just like so. Just be careful when poking through that you don't poke yourself at the back. And then I'm going to add a brad through. I've just got a little brass brad here. Just going to add it through that hole. Like so. And then open up my backing here, and then I'm going to take the piece that I poked the hole in my pattern paper, and I'm going to bring the brad through the hole that I made there. like so. And then I'm gonna open my little legs at the back here, like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and stick it on because I need it on so that I can measure out where the other one's gonna go. And again, I'm just using my art glitter glue to do that. All right, so just make sure it's where you want it. And then press down all the way around. And now I'm gonna do the bottom. So again, I'm gonna put it on and I'm gonna poke my hole, but I'm gonna close this up so that I can kind of see where I want my hole to be. And I think I want it about right there. So I'm gonna poke my hole through there and then again through my white circle, like so, and then put my brad through there, and then again through this piece here, and then just open the legs at the back, and then we will just glue it on. Get some extra glue around that brad. And then just place it on, making sure it's where we want it. All right. And then we can get our twine here. I just have some embroidery thread and we're just gonna run it under our white circle and make just one tie, not a knot, and bring it up to the top and tie it again, like so. And then we'll cut off the excess there. And then we'll get off a bit here just to see, make sure we have enough. And then close it up. And then just wrap it around. And that will be the closure for our box album. Super, super cute, super simple, but really looks effective. So I'm just going to finish matting the book and then you are going to see the full reveal in the walkthrough video. Thank you so much for joining me for this fun little tutorial and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe and like my channel and share if you can, and I can't wait to craft with you again.